Killing blacks is legal in America. Let's be clear about that. They had decided not to charge this white woman with murder, saying they could not prove intent, even though she shouted racial slurs at the children prior to this, and she's been doing this on a consistent basis. It is legal to murder black people, but for some reason, black people think they are doing something when they move around white people. These people are uncivilized. And I don't see how you don't see this. And I'm not saying one white person. You can't say this is just her. Because it's not her who's saying I'm not pressing charges. It was the police department who failed to arrest her initially. It's the DA who do not want to prosecute her locally. And it's the state's DA who is declining to prosecute her for murder because they do not see your life. They do not see your humanity in your life. They do not see that. They do not see there's anything wrong with taking your life. Black people need to understand this. They do not see there's nothing wrong with taking your life. Kyle Rittenhouse was an example. He killed 2 white people, but he killed 2 white people at a Black Lives Matter protest. To say black lives do not matter. And he came up here to say to defend a building. So black lives do not matter versus a building. Because the protest was over the police officers kneeling on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes. How many times will you have to be told that your life does not matter to white people? And you're going to have to make it matter to you. How many times do they have to repeatedly show you this? The governor of Texas, Judge Abbott, was trying to pardon a man convicted of murdering a Black Lives Matter protester before he even was sentenced.
Couple of things, bear with me. Susan Lawrence, we brought you this story when it first happened. The woman who shot her black neighbor, AJ Owens, through a locked door after self-admittedly shouting racial slurs at Owens' children, calling them slaves, will not be charged with murder. Florida officials cite, and I quote, insufficient evidence as cause for declining to file murder charges in a press release on June 26th. As deplorable as the defendant's actions were in the case, there is insufficient evidence to prove this specific and required element of second-degree murder, the press release states. While some may not agree with that decision, I can assure you that the decision was thoughtful and made without consideration of any factors other than the specific facts of this terrible crime. There's more. The state attorney's office says they would have to prove that Lawrence has a depraved mind in order to charge her with murder, which requires evidence of hatred, spite, ill will, or evil intent toward the victim at the time of the killing. Now, let me provide some reading.
Fine. Stop.
I want my dad. I'm not getting in no car until I see my dad. Please help somebody. No.
Dear.
Stop.
I got her. I got her. You're gonna be fine. Stop.
I want my dad. I'm not getting in no car till I see my dad.
Here, just stop for a second.
I want my dad.
Stand up.
47, I'm in.
I want my dad. No.
Stop. Pick a...
I want my dad. Wait, can I just please get the snow off of me?
I'll get the snow off.
It is cold.
You've had your chance.
Get in the car now.
Okay?
Okay?
You've had your chances.
I want
What
my
are you doing?
I want
What
my
are you
dad.
doing?
I want
Because
my
you're going to go to jail now, too.
I want my
Have a
dad.
seat,
Wait,
dear.
I just want to see my dad, please. For the last time. I want my dad. Dad, stop.
Listen, you're up.
Stop.
Sit up.
No.
You're acting like a
I
child.
want to.
Stop.
I am a child.
I want you to understand that he cannot acknowledge that he was dealing with a 9-year-old. He said the 9-year-old was acting like a child. Him and the 9-year-old was on the same level. He told the 9-year-old, you're acting like a child. And the 9-year-old had enough common sense to tell him, I am a child. But he saw that young black girl as a grown woman. Let's be clear about this. They age up our children, right? And they size up our children. They oversize our children in any confrontation in order to justify in their mind doing whatever they feel like doing. If it's taking a life, they justify. He was big, he was strong, he was brutally. He told this 9-year-old, you're acting like a child. The child had more common sense than all the adults. The other officer says, they're getting impatient. They are on the clock. They said they're getting impatient. The entire incident took 10 minutes. That means you started off with no patience for this black child. You have to understand they overaged this black child, and then they had no patience from the beginning to deal with this black child.
I want to call him.
I will call him. Sit back. Come on, they are losing their patience. Okay? Come on.
Dear, why
Okay.
you just stop for a second and take a deep breath. Hey,
Please don't,
just stop.
please.
I will get your dad.
No,
Otherwise,
you said that you were gonna pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop.
sit back.
Stop. I got a bad arm.
Just spray her.
I do not know I have
Just
a bad
spray her at this
arm.
point.
Stop. Stop.
Dear,
Stop.
I got her.
I'm
I got her.
Pepper. Please wipe my eye. Wipe my eye, please.
Unbelievable.
Black man, we need to understand that our lack of unity has consequences. Our inability to organize and structure ourselves to defend our community has consequences. And those consequences are a lack of masculinity. Those consequences leave your women, your children vulnerable to these white evil devils, as they used to call them. Black people have to understand that the lack of unity you have in your own community leaves you vulnerable to these things. Black man has to understand your unwillingness to stick together and build and strengthen your community and do security within your own community places your entire family at risk. It leaves your entire family vulnerable to those types of consequences. Black man has to understand that a lack of unity amongst us leads to a demasculation of black men. Your unwillingness to stand as a collective, is your very demasculation. You have to understand your unwillingness to stand together as a collective is justification for your extermination to them. It's justification for them to continue to exterminate you. Why not? You've allowed it. They've repeatedly shown you their legal system is set up to justify the taking of your life. I don't know how many examples you need to see that your lack of unity is causing you to be vulnerable to whatever they want to do to you.
A tense confrontation between Phoenix police and a young family. Parents and their two daughters, 1 and 4 years old, held at gunpoint. Major differences emerging between the police report and the video captured by witnesses. So what started this confrontation? Here's ABC's Zachary Quiche with more.
Get out the car!
You're watching cops in Phoenix threaten Aisha Harper, a 24-year-old pregnant woman with her 2 young children by her side. Police later stated in their report that they feared she was reaching for a weapon. This incident unfolding after police received a report of a stolen doll from a nearby dollar store. The video starts after the family pulls up at their babysitters and are approached by police with guns drawn.
You're gonna get shot!
Harper's partner, 22-year-old Drayvon Ames, is also threatened and issued a stern warning. Pulled from his car, he spreads his legs and then is kicked by the cop.
When I tell you to do something, you do it.
Then, when his fiancée refuses to put the children down, the officers only get more upset.
When I tell you to put your hands on my hands on my baby.
Hey!
Whoa, sir, come down!
Later, Harper gives her baby to a complete stranger. These videos were obtained by the family's pastor and shot by witnesses that did not want to be identified. In a police report, officers say the family acknowledged that their 4-year-old may have taken a toy, but police assert that the couple also may have taken other items and were combative. However, neither parent was formally charged. Tonight, the family has filed a formal notice of their intent to bring a $10 million suit against the city. They say the officers' actions violated their civil rights. Tom, the police department says
The reason why the parents was not charged because they had no stolen items. Let's be clear about this. They would have covered their ass. Let's be clear. But what I want you to pay attention to is the lack of humanity, their willingness to kill women, children, men. Don't tell me you think these Europeans are civilized. Don't tell me you think those are the actions of civilized people. How they wanted her to just hand her child off to just anybody. How they was threatening pointing guns at children. How they just kicked that man's legs like that. Don't tell me you think that these are the actions of civilized people and you want to leave these people to secure and to roam your community. Your lack of unity places you and your whole family vulnerable to this type of savagery. Black man, I'm explaining to you, this is what is going on with these Europeans. You have to unite. You have no other option.